All right, guys. So I feel like I'm really starting to get into conspiracy territory when it comes to some of these teachers' unions, our public schools, and the Democrat Party. Right? I'm really starting to believe that the Democrat Party and the teachers' unions essentially are working hand to hand. They want to dumb down our students so that they become completely dependent on the government, aka the Democrat Party. Right? I really am starting to believe that. Right? So much so that, I'm basically about to go full-blown libertarian in regards to how I feel about public schools, right? In which I'm starting to say, you know what, just abolish the public school system. Get rid of it. Privatize the whole damn thing, okay? Privatize the whole damn thing. Let's just do a federal / state voucher system and be done with it, right? Just be done with it, okay? But who knows, man? Maybe I could be crazy. I don't know. But what's maybe making me so crazy about this school issue is when you hear union heads like Miss Cecily Myart-Cruz saying crazy stuff like this.
Some voices are being allowed to speak louder than others. We have to call out the privilege behind the largely white, wealthy parents driving the push for a rushed return.
So yes, that is the head of the Los Angeles Teachers Union, okay? And that is her basically saying that, hey, you know what? We shouldn't open up schools, and the only people who want to open up schools are wealthy white parents, as if having schools be open is a privilege just afforded to white people, right? As if that just benefits white people. Those black kids, right, that need in-person learning, that need some extra help from teachers, right, that prefer in-person learning. Oh, forget about those kids. Right? Forget about those kids. If you're for those kids getting in-person learning, then you're for white privilege, right? You're for wealthy white people. Only wealthy white people want that. Poor black people prefer to stay at home and learn on a laptop, okay? That's the argument that she's making. It's better for them, right? It's really ridiculous, okay? It's so ridiculous. As she basically goes on to claim that there's no such thing as learning loss, okay? And I know it's ridiculous because there are a lot of schools across the country, right, that are reporting that, hey, kids aren't learning anything, right? Kids are learning a lot less because of distance learning, right? They're not paying attention. They're not showing up to class. They're not doing their assignments. So that has been a harsh criticism for school closures, is the fact that the kids are suffering. And in my opinion, I've made the argument that, these so-called social justice warriors, for as much as they claim to care about low-income people and, minorities, you would think that they would want schools to open up so that minorities can learn, because, again, those people are, in my opinion, are most impacted by schools closing, okay? But let's read a little bit more here about this crazy teachers union boss from Fox News. The head of the Los Angeles Teachers Union claimed that there is no such thing as learning loss for students who were forced into remote learning during the pandemic, saying the children learned survival and the difference between a riot and protest. Quote, there's no such thing as a learning loss, United Teachers Los Angeles President Cecily Myart-Cruz told the Los Angeles Magazine in a rare sit-down interview when she was questioned about her insistence to keep the school district locked down during the pandemic impacted students. Quote, our kids didn't lose anything. It's okay that our babies may not have learned all their times tables. They learn resilience. They learn survival. They learn critical thinking skills. They know the difference between a riot and a protest. They know the words insurrection and coup, she continued. Oh my God. So she's admitting what I was telling you guys, that students aren't really learning anything with distance learning, right? That is harming students with the things they actually to learn. But that doesn't matter to her. She said, well, that's not really learning loss, because what they actually did learn was they learned the difference between a riot and a protest. They learned the words insurrection and coup. Again, guys, this is why I'm getting into conspiracy territory when it comes to these public schools, right? The reason why is because this is flat out political indoctrination, right? She's literally saying, I don't care if our students are dumb, as long as they can know these buzzwords from the Democrat Party, It doesn't matter, right? As long as they know about social justice and activism and, voting Democrat and being stupid enough to stay dependent on the government, not having any skills, not knowing anything about financial literacy, we don't care about that. We just want them to be dependent on the Democrats. That's what she's saying in a nutshell, right? I highly doubt that these students know the difference between rioting and protest, right? Because these students, a lot of them probably been indoctrinated by woke ideology where they believe that all the BLM protests were violent but mostly peaceful, right? All the damage that was done to the city of Los Angeles by the BLM riots, don't worry, that was a protest, right? That was a protest, okay? A real riot is what you saw on January 6th, okay? Even though it costs way more in LA, even though more people have suffered, black businesses in LA and across the country have suffered more, don't worry about that, okay? That's a protest. A riot is what you saw on January 6th. That's what you really need to worry about. Again, this is Democrat indoctrination. That's what it is. The Los Angeles Unified School District is the second largest district in the country with more than 600,000 students. Myart-Cruz was at the forefront of rejecting Governor Gavin Newsom's push to get teachers back in the classroom in March, saying $2 billion in incentives for teachers to return to in-person teaching was a recipe for propagating structural racism. Quote, if you condition funding on the reopening of schools, that money will only go to white and wealthier and healthier school communities that do not have the transmission rates that low-income Black and brown communities do, Myart-Cruz said at the time. Whew, 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 whew. There's so much to say about that. I can't dedicate a whole video towards it. But again, in what world do we believe that it is better, right, for so-called minorities, okay? These same people that they claim they care about so much. Oh, and low-income people. Why would you believe that it's better for students to stay at home and learn where they can't get the one-on-one help that they need, first and foremost? And then on the top of that, their parents, these parents that need to work, okay, that need to get a job, that have to feed these kids, for them to be forced to stay home with their kids in order to make sure that they're learning and because nobody else is there, right? In what world do you think that's better for them? Don't you think that the so-called privileged people, don't you think they're the ones that can afford to, stay at home with their kids or to pay for a daycare or to have their kids go to like a private school or to get a tutor, right? That's what you would think using logic. But this person is saying the exact opposite of that. She's saying that rich white people are the ones that benefit from school opening. It's kind of ridiculous. And she's using the whole COVID thing as her argument, but she's not talking about actual learning outcomes, right? She's not talking about actual learning outcomes because she doesn't care. The whole point is to dumb down our kids. And speaking of liberal school districts here, New York City, they are thinking about getting rid of the honor roll system, right? They want to rethink it because they feel like it's detrimental to students not making the grade. Again, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I believe that there is a agenda to dumb down students, right? Let's read this. They're remaking the grade. The city Department of Education wants schools to rethink honor rolls and class rankings because they're detrimental to some kids, according to a new grading guidance. Recognizing student excellence via honor rolls and class rank can be detrimental to learners who find it more difficult to reach academic success, often for reasons beyond their control, the document states. The DOE wants schools to widen recognition to include contributions to school or wider community and demonstrations of social justice and integrity. Okay, so they want people to protest. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. You see, and the last story we did, that was LA. Now this is New York. They're saying, right, that teachers union boss said, well, they know the words coup and insurrection, and they know the difference between a riot and a protest. So you're more concerned about that than actual learning. Now you're saying the New York City school district. Well, we need to rethink the honor roll system, right? Not recognizing students that do well in class, okay, that get good grades, that take their learning serious, right? And parents that have put in the work to make sure their kids are good students. Oh, no. We need to start giving recognition to people who demonstrate social justice, right? That go out and protest, that say Black Lives Matter, that support all the liberal Democrat things that we like. It's obvious what's going on here, guys. They're dumbing down students and trying to make them progressive activists, right? Which, I mean, hey, look, in 2021, it's not a bad career choice, right? You got people getting rich all the time off of progressive activism who've made careers out of it. Matter of fact, the other day in DC, I actually saw Miss Tamika Mallory and Linda Saussure in at my hotel, right? So I've seen the progressive activists out here making a whole living off of this stuff. So I mean, hey, not a terrible career choice, but not one that I would be pushing on kids. Okay, so I mean, look, it's obvious what's happening here, guys. The advisory is a part of a larger set of grading imperatives that seek to entrench and further a new concept for student assessment. Quote, grades are not only a reflection of student performance, but can be self-fulfilling prophecies, the document states, influencing future students' performance either directly through their psychological impact or indirectly through instructional decisions, placement in courses, and guidance in post-secondary options. The DOE wants more emphasis on evidence of progress in the mastery of individual learning goals rather than the cumulative quality of assignments and tests. All right, no, how about this? How about we bring back actual learning hard skills in school, right? How about that, right? How about that? Because I actually agree with the idea that grades are not everything. Some people are not necessarily academic, right? But to help those students that are not necessarily academic, that doesn't mean that you bring down the standards. It just means that, hey, you know what? Maybe those students should have the option to learn some type of hard skill or trades, right, that will help them get good jobs right at high school. Those kids, maybe they shouldn't go to college. Maybe they should just, again, learn a trade, get a high value skill right out of college, learn financial literacy so they can make money and start their lives immediately, right? How about that? Okay. But see, they don't mention that. They don't mention, hey, you know what? Let's actually teach kids real skills. Let's actually help them get a job, right? Let's help them go and work in the workforce at a lot younger of an age, right? Why put them through 4 years of more liberal indoctrination in college just to come out in thousands of dollars of debt that a lot of them can't pay back and no real job skills? Instead of doing that, let's just teach them some real skills, right? Let's teach them some trades, okay? But see, that makes too much sense. It would create independence. Students wouldn't be dependent on the Democrat Party. Who knows? They might start voting conservative. They might become conservative. They might say, oh, we need tax cuts. Okay? I don't want to pay tax to the government. I work hard, right? I'm a business owner. Okay? See, that wouldn't be good for the Democrat Party, right? They're not incentivized to make kids independent. They're incentivized to make kids dependent so that they continue to vote for Democrats and their destructive policies that don't allow kids to be independent. That's really what's going on here, guys. I'm basically convinced. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.